Ebusuafo ni etiefo ni di kwan so me patcho me ma obi bia akwa baba channel so me daily update TV. Ebusuafo me patcho ene parliament, that is parliament house na Afenyo Markin we pia babontin de insem bi abetu dwa na according to ono na Afenyo Markin no, he was attacked, he has been attacked to the extent say omututu okra so nko an omutwitu say na komba beto abon nenso omutwitu omo pese omoto no moto ana emma na onim sa miracle bia miracle no oni bebre ami bebia na free a ebesi ye na ne kasem nya na o kire say na on na ma oye ni campaign ana nkofo bi ebeto share no so attacking no omutwitu say nko omututu no kra bon kra nyankopon adominti no so far woman team kra antutu no na me patcho ni nyina na mo ka say about injustice e wo on my mu a person o kire say they see yesterday no na or try so be link o ti o kan insem kakra na the majority shape, yes, the majority shape that firm of Nelson lawyer patron story no nso nya akwanya no nso de ne se ono so de e de to ho no a wutim hu say ebusua memma menje nsem ne nka mo yenko na yenko tie wo mo ankasa wo manu mu nsem na yen ya me yen tie nsem mo ankasa e de to dwa nyakopon hira obi bia na onye obi bia kase mi da se bebre.
Today appears to be a day for the first timers. Clearly, what it means is that this chamber has a great future where you have first timers and some senior members making a statement and hearing contributions. Mr. Speaker, before I get into my own contributions, I want to remind colleagues that we need to exercise, because when we stand, we have to stand upright and make our statement. People are always bending. It means you can't stand on your waist. No, you need to stand. Whether a lady or gentleman, stand firm. If there's a problem, let's exercise. We have to exercise so that when we're on our feet, we're able to stand very firm and upright.
Honorable Minority Leader, the statement before us is on social justice.
That is true, Mr. Speaker. A good health will contribute to. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members who made this statement drew our attention to a number of issues affecting society. Mr. Speaker, I would want to adopt the three statements from the members as though same were coming from me and rely on all of them for records, except to say that, Mr. Speaker, I don't want this House to be drawn into the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. That conflict has its own history, and we need to be very cautious in drawing that conflict into our discussion in this House floor. And it's for the reason that I believe Honorable Gansa, although his statement was well intended, the way it came up, it created a certain impression. And I just want the record to reflect that this House is not taking sides in that conflict. We only pray that there will be justice for all in that enclave. So, Speaker, each day in my prayer, I pray for peace in the Middle East, guided by St. Francis of Assisi's prayer. I, being a Catholic, I always rely on that important prayer by St. Francis, where he calls for the Lord to make us an instrument of his peace. So, Mr. Speaker, our prayer is that wherever there is injustice, the God Almighty himself, the Lord Almighty himself, would lead the discussions that will lead to peace, so that there will be fairness for all. Mr. Speaker, the first maker of the statement the respected member Nakoyo Kuno of Awutu Senya East. Mr. Speaker, she shared her own experiences. Mr. Speaker, we need to take steps as a people to address the way we do politics in this country. Some of us don't tell our stories, but we all know the things sometimes we go through. The attacks, the unfair treatment, the way we are manhandled, and all. But it appears that sometimes when injustice benefits somebody, the person is in a hurry to go to God, to church, to thank God, and sees him as blessing. But when the next day he is at the receiving end, you see the person crying for people to save him. For how long should that continue in our country? I have my own experience in Winneba in 2012. It took the Lord's intervention for me to be here. Somebody came to a close range with a pistol, all because I was campaigning. And I was lucky that he couldn't shoot. I don't know the mystery and the miracle behind it. Close range. I went through other situations that time will not permit me to recount. People are suffering injustice. Sometimes even our judiciary, the way our judges approach cases that come before them. For my years at the bar, I know that when there is an application pending before a court of justice will always deal with that interrogatory matter before coming to the substantive matter and ensure that there is fairness. For my years of practice, I know that when there is an application before a superior court raising issues of bias, the court below would at least wait for the supervisory jurisdiction which is being invoked to be considered and determined before dealing with the matter before him. All in the interest of fairness and justice. Are we experiencing that in all situations? I beg to say that no. So, Mr. Speaker, if we are calling for a fair society, then it shouldn't be.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Yes, sir.
With all due respect, that is not automatic. Looking at the practice and procedure in CI 47, you have a right to put in an application for stay of proceedings pending the determination of the matter at the court above.
What does social justice mean? Speaker, it means the opportunity to have equal rights, economic, political, religious, cultural, and the law. Speaker, it therefore becomes a barometer by which every government or every nation's governance structure and systems are measured. And leaving the generals to the specifics, of course we will measure our governance structure back home by invoking these very indices. Speaker, yours truly, at variance with social justice. Me, my residential home under construction, it was pulled down by operatives of government. There was no social justice, no court order, no court process. Somebody just exercised executive power of state arbitrarily. Speaker, my own uncle the Venerable Hodari, he was unfairly dismissed, fairly terminated from Ghana Immigration Service, and he proceeded to court. He obtained judgment. It took so long for the judgment there to be paid to him. That was no social justice. It was not. Mr. Speaker, there are members on this side. Just a couple of months ago, who were here. Their homes were raided by operatives of the state without recourse to law. That was no social justice. Mr. Speaker, social justice must resonate in everything that we do as a people and as a state. It's the only way we can ensure fairness. Speaker, exactly 8 years ago, 2017, 10 February, or thereabout, the then newly appointed and confirmed Minister of Health, the Honorable Kwekwa Jumamenu, he wrote and terminated the appointment of 8,634 health personnel, nurses and other health personnel recruited into the health service without recourse to even the time of recruitment. I have the letter, I can show it to you. 10 February 2017. That was no social justice. It was not. As we speak, those employees whose employment and social benefits, socio-economic benefits are consequent upon those employment that were suspended, they remain in suspension. As we speak, they are sitting at home, they are grieving. That was no social justice. And so I agree with you, minority leader. I am saying so. But I didn't hear your high heaven cries in 2017. You were a formidable member of this house. So I agree that there must be a convergence zone. In plain language, there must be a convergence zone where we must do the appropriate things.
Honorable Minority Leader, don't engage the member on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, in April 2017, recruits that were undergoing training in the Sinfosu Ghana Immigration Training School, who had started training the November of the year before, they were not graduated. They were asked to go home. They have not been returned as we speak. So, Mr. Speaker, let me take the House a bit back into time. In 2001, the most common cliche on the streets of Accra and by extension, Ghana was proceed on leave. Yes, 2001, many public servants who had served within the public service, some for 20 years prior, 10 years prior, 15 years prior, they were simply asked to proceed on leave, just to go home, without recourse to lay down procedure. That was no social justice. That was no social justice.
Honourable members, order.
So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that today is such an auspicious day that going forward, we must have recourse to standards, basic requirements, procedures, so that when Ghanaians of all shades of life, of tribal origin, cultural origin, religious coloration, and are qualified They should find space in the public sector and contribute their quota without any recourse to, Mr. Speaker, I shudder to say it, but to political consideration. I am very happy that my brother touched on the issue of judicial tardiness in terms of matters before the courts. That, Speaker, you being our senior at the bar, when a matter is before the court, the plaintiff, whoever the plaintiff is, it's immaterial. The same alacrity, zeal, speed that is brought to bear in dealing with all other matters must be exercised fairly in respect of all the cases before the courts. So yes, social justice today will speak in commemoration of that. But Speaker, I believe that I'll urge you to, in closing this matter, to give some general direction that as a nation, as a people, we should be guided by it. That is what ensures fairness. And not because of the length of my name, for instance, which summarily will point you to where I originate from this country. But giving the even playing field so we can exhibit our qualities as Ghanaians. My brother, the Chief Whip, speaks impeccable Ewe because he grew up among Ewes and attended Bishop Eman. And I got the opportunity to join him in the University of Cape Coast. So my Fante is pristine. And today we are here. That is the social cohesion that we have enjoyed and has benefited us. So today you may see us, but like the elders will say, we are like two cockerels. We may be fighting, but we watch our eyes. We can't punch our eyes because we are brothers to the core. We may have our political dispensations, but by all means, let us be guided by simple standards so that every government has the power to exercise the executive power of state. So by all means, recruit. But I would love that we will be guided. There's always space in the public sector. So, Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity and I thank the makers. This is a major reminder to all of us.
Ebusu ame do bibia se wenyamre no abenye video ni bi nso ahwe me pacho said them kan no han daily update TV. Say na no first time I oba channel so unya e video no hwe wie ni so wani je ho kwa de my thumb up. Share our videos more love so nya bi entie na me pacho let's subscribe to your YouTube channel no. E ma ring so bebo notification bell no. And no yen sa no so I'm ready the latest news beba on board YouTube be ma special notification now so wanya akonya no abenya videos ni bi ahwe nyakopon hya yi na no onye kese. Me pacho yedin common kakra yedin common besia. Stay tuned for more updates. Nyakopon hira yi nyina na onye kese medase bebre.